Welcome back to another 6-Man Blitz video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my fantasy football picks for, my biggest hero and the biggest loser this week for fantasy football week 13 of the NFL season. Now let's start off with my heroes. DK Metcalf. Unfortunately, I had to go against his ass, and he had 37 points, 6 catches, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns. He went off. People were questioning whether Deron Bland should still get a nod or a vote for Defensive Player of the Year. It was his award until Thursday Night Football, Seahawks against the Cowboys, and DK Metcalf had his fucking way against Deron Bland. It was unfortunate for Deron Bland, but he still had an interception in the game, which was huge for him. But still, DK Metcalf cooked his ass all night. Great performance by him. He was one of the biggest fantasy performers, biggest fantasy hero this week. The next hero I got is Nico Collins. 9 catches, 191 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. He was unstoppable. This Broncos defense had no answer for him. And Tank Dell going out for the rest of the season pretty much is a big deal for the Houston Texans. But with a receiver like Nico Collins, this is a good insurance. He's the number 1 receiver in Houston. And CJ Stroud has a lot of trust in him. Now with Tank Dell being out for the rest of the season, like I mentioned, Nico Collins, this production, there's a chance you could possibly see him have another game like this. So, make sure to start him. No longer a flex option. He should be a receiver 1 or 2. The next receiver I had that had a big day, Deebo Samuel. He had 34 points. He, went the fuck off against the Eagles. He bullied him. He was Deebo. He looked like his old self too in this game. Yak Monster, 116 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, only 4 catches. So whenever he caught the ball, he was taking it for 6. And in the rushing game, he had, 3 rushes, 22 yards, but he had a rushing touchdown. So he's had a lot of stuff to say about this Eagles team, them winning the NFC Championship game. But, he backed it up with his performance against them, Sunday afternoon. Now for week 13's unsung hero, I had Jake Browning, quarterback for the Bengals, backup quarterback, Washington legend. And, in high school, he threw 91 touchdowns in a season. Crazy, road to glory numbers. But he was really good this week against the Jaguars, filling in for Joe Burrow, who's out for the rest of the season. He might have, got himself an opportunity to win some money in free agency, get some more money in free agency with this kind of performance. 32 passing, completions for 37 attempts. So 32 for 37. He was spot on, accurate as fuck. And he looked confident in this game. He was evading pressure. This is a Jags defense that is pretty solid. He had 354 yards passing, and he had a touchdown. So he was really good in this game against the Jags defense that is pretty talented. Top defense in the league, I think, in the AFC for sure. So this was no cakewalk. This wasn't him going against the Patriots or an ass team. He did it against a really good AFC opponent. But I expect this guy to be a quarterback that a lot of people are picking up. A lot of people picked up, yesterday or today earlier. But this is a guy that's, if you need a quarterback to fill in, if you are a guy that has Trevor Lawrence as your quarterback or you have some other injuries, there's been injuries all year at the quarterback position. This is a guy to pick up to fill in, maybe to potentially win you a week or a couple weeks with the performance like he had against the Jags. But let's get to my biggest losers. Now, Terry McLaurin, 0 catches, 3 targets. He was just doing cardio. He admitted it. He was ass against his Dolphins team. That secondary has improved. They're healthier. This defense is getting after the quarterback at a higher level. Even with Phillips out, they're still playing elite. So, Terry McLaurin had no chance. 3 targets is crazy, though. Sam Howell only threw the ball to him 3 times. That's crazy. But he was getting locked up. So a performance like this does concern you. Sam Howell has had a really good year, passing the ball. Could something like this happen again? Possibly. Terry McLaurin has been really inconsistent all year. So this is not somebody I would put in the lineup week in, week out. So this is a concerning performance, but if you've had him all year, he does shit like this. He's really 50-50. But the next one I have is the Browns defense, -2 points. They didn't do shit defensively. They gave up 34 points, no sacks, no turnovers. This is a defense that's been really good all year, one of the best defenses in the league. At one point in time, they were the best defense, but unfortunately, this is a team you need to drop this defense if you have them. I did. I picked up the Bears defense. There's other defenses that you could pick in, or you can, go week by week. Who's, projected the most points defensively? One of the defenses that, who's going to go against an ass offense? Who's the Steelers defense is a good defense to pick this week for Thursday Night Football. But the Browns, they've been regressing so much in the last 2 weeks. This is a defense I wouldn't start this week. But that wraps it up for fantasy football. Week 13, biggest heroes, biggest losers, unsung hero. Make sure to stay updated with this content because I'm going to be providing you my analysis of fantasy football and some guys you should be either starting, benching, or performances that you should monitor. Is this concerning or is this not? But stay updated with this. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. As always, peace. Bears were up 26-14 in the fourth quarter, 3 minutes left in the game, and they still lost. 98% of teams win with that margin, with that lead, with that much time left in the game.